es la voz de LA. It's like una galaxiana, come and kick it with us. I bring the bossa nova beats and talk the club that we love. Another year to adjust, and Will Kuntz we all trust. 6 titles in the cabin, tell the haters shut up. Mirar al horizonte con el cielo morado. Llegamos al estadio como siempre lo hago. Es la nueva temporada, ya cumplí 30 años. Rezándole a San Pequi que no dé al travesaño. Que repartan los balones y no sean tacaños. Que regrese el contraataque y que le hagamos daño. Un saludo para Robert, hermanos ecuatorianos. Que la táctica de Ananda nunca sean en vano. Si se trata de mi gala me levanto temprano. Ver el fur en verano, en el pasto tumbado. Siempre estoy a tu lado, en cualquier resultado. Vamos Galaxy, on top is where I gotta be. Chilling in the canopy, staging like a winery. Goles during rivalries, brew from the refinery. Only want the finer things, we letting you know. Lo que pasa en la galaxia, ready, let's start the show.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast always made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans, wherever you may be. And boy, did we miss you after our day off. Today, we have a preview of the battle of the cellar dwellers of the Western Conference of MLS, as the LA Galaxy will be traveling away to Sporting Kansas City on Sunday, May 4th. Just for Dejan Joveljic to have his revenge on LA. Shout out as well to former G's John Postcamp and Memo Rodriguez. And a matchup that both teams desperately need to win, although perhaps maybe for different reasons. We'll be joined by writer and photographer for the KC Soccer Journal, Thad Bell, who will lend his expertise on SKC tonight, help us cover what life has been like for Sporting post Peter Vermees, how Deki is settling in and if he's being taken care of, which Sporting KC team we might see against the Galaxy at home this weekend, and who the X factor might be for this rebounding side this Sunday as they host the reigning champs. Plus, we'll comment on unacceptable behavior at the digs this past weekend. All of that and more coming up on tonight's episode of La Cuna Galaxiana. But as always, we want to thank you guys for being here. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Halon. You can find my written work at Extra Time Talk and the Sporting Tribune, and you can find me online at El Escudero de LA. And since I'm here, you know my co-host is here, the cosmopolitan one, back amongst us on these shores. Welcome back to my co-host, Anandita Kirana. ¿Cómo estás, papá?
Good, man. Just recovering on my jet lag. Just getting back here, but it's good to be back with everyone in chat. Jet lag's a real thing, man. It's a real thing. I'm still trying to just get used to the time. I've had to get used to like 3 time differences in the last month, so that's been fun. But anyways, no, just happy to be back with chat with you guys. Of course, we couldn't do the show Monday because logistically just couldn't work out. But yeah, just happy to be back with you guys. And I mean, let's get this thing going, man, because we need to win badly. SKC probably need to win badly. You just said it. The battle of the cellar dwellers. What is this? 2023 all over again? Like the battle for 14th place? Like this is getting ridiculous.
Why do you think I'm wearing this jersey today?
Exactly right. The remnants.
And you're wearing a throwback as well. I mean, we're back in 2023.
I mean, I guess unintentionally, I guess that's where kind of our head goes, right?
Oh no, let it not be so.
Yeah, but I mean, look, the facts are the facts. This team is unfortunately reliving those past memories, those awful memories, because the team is just not where it needs to be, obviously. And I had a little sort of back and forth with Josh with a Shout Out Corner of the Galaxy, who, you know, I said this reminds me of when we started covering the team, Rob, just a couple of years ago when we started this pod. I know you've been covering your team, the team, you know, writing and stuff. But in terms of when we did this pod, it harkens me back to that season. Just nothing going right for the Galaxy, whether it's refereeing decisions, whether it's injuries, whether it's just, you know, here, there, and everywhere. So that's why it's taking me back to that. But again, we need to win. We need to win badly, and let's kind of figure out here as a group, because we didn't have a group therapy session on Monday. So let's kind of figure out with chat here what we can expect. What I can say now in summation is it's not going to be an easy game. Children's Mercy Park has never been a kind place for the Galaxy.
Never.
But we'll get into all those little fun facts in just a second.
Yeah, we definitely will. And I mean, our guest for the evening, Thad, he's probably, shaking his head like these guys are complaining. You guys just won a chip last year. Sporting KC has 2023, was around there. Last year was 13th, and this year before the change, was kind of trending that way. So that's probably like, man, these guys are complaining about nothing. But no, it's a real thing. It's a consternation amongst the Galaxy Landia, and it's picking up even more. I mean, if
6 MLS Cups, we're spoiled. Well, what can I say?
Yeah, shiny trophy, still shiny. They need wins. But anyway, we want to say thank you guys for joining us once again and getting us to those 500 subs, which let us get those super chats in there for you. So if you need to get something off your chest, if you need to say something or get a question in there for us or for Thad, go ahead and hit those super chats up. Get us there to 600, man. You guys got us to 5, get us to 6. Go ahead and tell your tia, that girl that you think is cute down at the sandwich shop, go ahead and let her know. Be like, hey, I know this podcast. What's up? Anyway, but thank you guys so much for tuning in again. We do want to let you guys know we do have a couple of breakaway pods, a couple of episodes. I did an interview with Michaela Giannone, MLS analyst. We talked about the state of the Galaxy. God damn, that's a horrible picture of me and Anna. That's terrible. You've been putting that on the internet. Dang, that's terrible.
Wait. This is the first time you're seeing it? That's even more terrible. That's shocking. This is the first time. Come on, Papa. It's been out for like a couple weeks. Come on.
No.
I mean, like I don't read your articles. You apparently don't see my thumbs. So there you go.
No, I mean it's like I probably saw it, but I don't know. It's like this aspect ratio looks terrible. Anyway, so check that out. That was a really good interview with Michele. We dove into a bunch of different stuff about the Galaxy.
Yeah, he was very good. Very good.
And also very good is Ananda's episode with El Profe Alex Ruiz on the Galaxy's midfield troubles. Los Arquitektos episode 5. Those are those breakaway episodes that you will find out about when you subscribe to this pod. So go ahead and hit that subscribe, hit that like as well. Let's get into a couple of bits of news right after Ananda does his housekeeping, and then let's go ahead and get our guest on here.
Well, as I always say, guys, you can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. You can find our pod at all of your socials at Lacuna Galaxiana, the name of the show. Pretty simple handle and tag there. And Rob, you did everything else for me. So the only thing I got to say is, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches, y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de Lacuna Galaxiana. Gotcha. Yeah, let's get it, man. We missed a group therapy session last time for the winless LA Galaxy. So let's see what we could do. Let's see what we could do to raise the spirits of chat here.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's go ahead and get a couple of news items out of the way here first. Christian Ramirez was voted your April Player of the Month by the LA Galaxy public. This is, put out by the LA Galaxy socials here. We do have a VCFC update. They did face off against Vancouver Whitecaps on Sunday, April 27th. That was a come from behind 3-2 win on the road. Nelson Pierre opened the scoring for the host in the 18th minute. Then Nicholas Sullivan and Ruben Ramos Jr. scored 2 goals in 6 minutes to put VCFC ahead. Pierre brought the Whitecaps level in the 73rd minute, only for Jason Buckner to score the winner a little over 10 minutes later. Now VCFC are back up to second place after 7 matches played with a 5-0-2 record. They are on 15 points, and they're kind of rolling right now. 1-4 of their last 5. Their next match, the opportunity to go ahead and try to climb into first place because they are tied on points with Houston Dynamo 2 for first, is against Tacoma Defiance on Friday, May 2nd. So at the time of this recording, tomorrow. So go check them out at the Willie Roll at 7 p.m. Yes, I am still trying to spread the Willie Roll. Champions Cup update. Man, that's an awesome picture. That Vita, man, he's playing something awesome right now. Champions Cup. Yeah, I know, man. El Pasano. Vancouver Whitecaps FC Sword destroyed. All the adjectives themselves into the CONCACAF Champions Cup final on Wednesday evening. They just went out and took it to Miami 3-1 on the road, and they took the tie actually 5-1 after Miami opened the scoring. White, Vita, and Berhalter all scored within 20 minutes, and now the Whitecaps make their first Champions Cup final. They will go ahead and face off against Cruz Azul or Tigres. That one should be about halfway through or maybe over right now. Somebody can go ahead and fact check me on that and let me know who makes that final. But yeah, either Cruz Azul or Tigres will make that final against the Whitecaps, who right now are just playing lights out. Probably it's sad to see the Galaxy playing the way they're playing in this matchup.
Looks like the final. Looks like the finals. Cruz Azul. They just won 1-0 today, full time.
Cruz Azul versus Whitecaps in your Champions Cup final. The disparity in quality and class at the moment between that Whitecaps team and the Galaxy is at least on paper vast.
Night and day. Honestly, I think they've created themselves separation between them and the rest of Western Conference, in my opinion. I mean, they are a serious team. Of course, they've got to make sure they stay healthy for the rest of the season, but man, that is a serious team. Shout out Kevin Baxter, because I think he called the Whitecaps. He said, look out for the Whitecaps this season, heading into the season, and boy, did he ever call that right. So it's a serious team, man. I posted a clip the other day of like Pedro Vite putting a nicely chipped ball into Brian White, and there was a bunch of movement happening for that play, and I said, what? Like, this is what we saw from the Galaxy last season. Where's that been this season? Where's that pretty football? Watching the Galaxy is like watching paint dry, unfortunately, this season. So It is what it is, man. Facts are facts. Yep.
Man. Raji says, okay, but can we not talk about the Galaxy, Lakers, or Kings? Yeah, I mean, you're probably hurting on all fronts right now, man. I mean, I know I am. But anyway, let's go ahead and take care of this last news item, and then we'll start hanging out with our new friend Thad. So, Ananda, you weren't there, but this is in all my years of being in Galaxy matches as a lad with my family, and then covering the team. I've never really heard this before, but at the last match against the Timbers, maybe it was the frustration boiling over or something like that, but the Galaxy fans some Galaxy fans were acting out of pocket, and the chant was heard, not once, but twice, but 3 times at the very least that I heard. I mean, it's disgusting behavior, man. It's just stop, bro. So Galaxy Communications put out this message here, this press release. The Galaxy and the Dig strongly condemn the use of any derogatory language targeting any individual or group. The offensive chant heard towards the end of the Sunday's match is unacceptable and in no way reflects the values of the club. This behavior is not part of who we are, and it will not be tolerated. We are firmly committed to creating a safe, inclusive, and respectful environment at the Digs, where every player, fan, and staff member feels welcomed and valued. All I got to say is, we got to be better. And myself included. We got to just be better about trying to make sure that everybody feels comfortable about being in our shared space. There's unfortunately, Ananda, there's this perception around the league that Galaxy fans are very unruly and unbehaved and stuff like that, misbehaved, and stuff like this just doesn't help that. Like I said, let's be better. Let's show the world who Los Angeles is. Anyway, man, this is gross. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. That's all I gotta say. Not to get all preachy, but that's pretty much all I gotta say. The Galaxy again doing great work in getting out in front of this and owning it and saying like, hey, it will immediately there were notices and announcements that like, hey, we woke up this match, right? Like it's not acceptable, and we woke up this match, and then they came out with a statement. So good on them. But anyway, let's get into the next match. That was the last match. Let's get into this next match, and to help us do that, we are bringing on a cat who not only takes stunning photos of all the pitches around the Kansas City area, but also writes about them for the KC Soccer Journal. Please welcome to the show, Thad Bell. Thad, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, well, thanks for having me on, and hopefully I can somewhat match your energy, man. It's late here.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we know it's late, and thank you so much. Maybe we need to match your energy and get all mellow and talk about this
late night.
We can just commiserate a little bit together. Like, I mean, we're essentially in the same spot on the table.
Exactly.
It's nice to be playing a team that we can slightly look down at, only by a couple points, but I just had to get that one in there, man. I'm sorry.
No, yeah,
Hey,
no, it's
no,
all right. Misery
get
loves
it.
company, man. It's all good.
I was at the digs, like I mentioned this past week. And self-deprecation is one of my favorite things to do. But it was funny because apparently there was a Galaxy fan that was walking around, and he was on the same tip because he was singing, "We lose every week, we lose every week. You're nothing special. We lose every week." And that's really the state of the Galaxy right now. But Thad, before we go any further, again, thanks for joining the show. Can you please let the folks know out there in the internet spheres how they can find you and your work?
I manage, edit, and write and shoot for the KC Soccer Journal, so kcsoccerjournal.com, Twitter, the back post, Instagram, Thad_photo, I think it is. Blue Sky is Thad.bell, whatever that goes on there. I'm still trying to get used to doing Blue Sky. So anyway, I'm trying to do all of it, man.
Right on. Thanks, man. Well, let's get into some SKC talk. Last year, I mentioned they took 13th place. What were your expectations coming into this year? Did you think that anything was going to be different? Obviously, Peter Vermees went into this year at the helm of as boss. So, what were you expecting?
Well, I wasn't expecting him to be gone that early. I mean, I know they struggled, but I still expected they would give him a little bit more time. But coming in, man, I had hopes because, they went out and got star striker from an MLS Cup champion, a couple of guys from Greece, Manu Garcia and Shapi Sulaimanov to bolster the attack. They didn't do a whole lot for the defense, but they'd added a guy at the end of last year whose main thing was he scored on us. And so, there was some hope, but I didn't know where we would end up. I didn't know how it would turn out. But when you can add an attacker and a 10-ish kind of guy, you have hopes that the attack at least goes good.
So you mentioned that you didn't expect Peter Vermees to go this early. Were you surprised by his firing?
A little bit. It was not going well. He always preached, 10 games in, where you're at, and they basically got rid of him at 6. And so I just kind of thought they would give him some time with the new players, but not much was happening. It was essentially the same old team. There was a lot of the issue was that there would be defensive mistakes. They would give up easy goals. They could play really well for 80 minutes and 10 minutes, just give up 3 or 4 goals. And the offense wasn't clicking at that point, which, to be fair, 2 of those guys had showed up right when the season started. So there wasn't much time to get used to each other. Dejan was here early enough that he was starting to get used to guys, but you still got to get used to your winger and your 10 if you're going to do any good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we ran into Dejan at the CVI, and he was already wearing SKC colors, which was very jarring for us. And so,
yeah,
just like you mentioned, I mean, we're starting to see Dejan kind of click with his teammates up there in the attack. We'll get into that a little bit more. We do want to say shout out to the homie Pottermus, who's enjoying the Aurora Borealises up there in Anchorage, Alaska, and taking in this humble little pod. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Interim coach Kerry Zavagnin, 2 wins, 2 losses so far. Your assessment on what his work has been like so far? What have you seen? Like, has he broken from Vermees' style of play? And what should we expect from him?
Well, considering he's been an assistant coach for 15 years or whatever the exact number is, it's hard to just break away from what you were doing. but he has made steps to do so. And I think the biggest thing is he's allowed the offense to have a little more freedom. They're not as rigid as what they're trying to do, so letting them be a little more creative. As soon as they get the ball, being more direct in the attack, things like that. So he has started to break away, but I think, that first game that he was in charge was against a rival team, St. Louis. It's, they've only been around for a couple of years, but the intercity hatred, the two cities hating each other, has been around for decades.
Yeah.
So that built pretty quickly. So just having that as your first game and the emotions between Peter being let go and that rivalry game at home, all that came into play. It was set up to be a win, storybook type of thing. And it happened. They got the win. It was pretty, it was a lot of fun to beat St. Louis. And then a loss after that, and then a road win, and then a loss after that, but against Cincinnati. So I think so far he's doing all right. And you can see each week a little bit difference, a little more freedom, a little, they've, still have injury woes. So last week you're playing a rookie center back and a guy who's been around for a couple years, but is still a U22 player as center backs. So all of these things come into play. I think the results are starting to show up, and that's all good.
What player has benefited the most from this coaching change?
That's a good question. I would actually say Daniel Shalhoub. Guy's been around for a long time. He was in the academy here. He was what I always called a Hungarian homegrown, because he came from Hungary, played in the academy here for a year, and then was a homegrown signing. One thing Peter did well was used all the facilities he had to sign players without using much money. So he did really good with getting guys like that. But he's struggled the last couple of years and wasn't doing much at the beginning of this year, had been kind of replaced at the left wing by Eric Tommy, who's a guy who can fit in both wings or in the midfield. He can do a little bit of everything. Sometimes he tries to do way too much. But when Carey took over, Shalhoub's back on the wing. He's looking good. And I think he's starting to connect with Dejan pretty well. So I think it seems kind of weird, but he seems to be the one that's benefited the most so far.
Yeah, Thad. I mean, speaking of Dejan, I mean, obviously we feel his impact of that gaping hole at 9. Yes, we have Christian Ramirez, who we brought in, but really more as a depth piece. I don't think Galaxy fans are expecting him to be the out and out number 9. I mean, just talk about the impact of his signing to this SKC team. I mean, especially, cutting over from a guy like Alan Pulido, who is, I'm not sure if he's considered a legend or a cult hero, or however you want to see him at SKC. I mean, he's not a Johnny Russell. Johnny Russell's our legend because he's a thorn in our side. But do you think he's the perfect cut over there, Dejan, from Alan Pulido?
Oh, definitely. Pulido, I mean, a lot of people loved him and then hated him and then loved him and then hated him, and just, that's kind of how it goes when you score a lot of goals and don't do anything. But he had a long time injury, so he kind of took a while to get back. It was a bad knee injury, and when he got back, he started to get into the groove, scored some goals, signed a contract, and then didn't score anymore. So kind of story as old as time, right? So people weren't too upset with him going. I mean, nobody is like seeing like, oh man, we can't lose our legend. No, thanks for being here. He was a really quality player when he was here, when he was on, but when he wasn't, he didn't do much. He sometimes hampered the offense. He would drop too far back into the midfield to pick up a ball instead of being somewhere where he could score a goal. So Dejan, man, and you guys know this as well as anybody, right? He has a knack for going to goal. He's not going to score every single shot he has, but he is going to put a lot of them in if he has opportunities. He has a quality that's not easy to find. So, and especially for the money that you guys let us have him for, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, don't mention it. I made sure, like, I knew in the future that we were gonna meet, and I was like, what'll make Thad happy? And I made it happy. So we talked about Shalhoub, who shout out to him, because every time I start a new manager career mode on FIFA, he's one of my cheap pickups, and he definitely blossoms into a heck of a player. So shout out to him. But we talked about some of the positives on this team. Dejan starting to click with the offense. But what's your number one gripe about this team? What are the frailties on this team?
Right back to defense, man. Even though it's seeming to settle down a little bit, they still gave up too many goals the last 4 games. But they don't have healthy center backs right now. The ones they have are young or inexperienced, and nobody has really settled that group down. And we're also playing a rookie, homegrown defensive midfielder, Jacob Bartlett, who I think he's going to blossom into being a really good player over the next decade. I mean, I think he's going to be around for a long time, but it is his first year. He went to college for a year and came back, signed his home contract, and we just don't have. We still need a little more quality in the midfield and on defense to be a really good team. Scoring wise, they're doing pretty good. I mean, if I want to say they're like 8th most goals scored in the league right now, that's not bad.
Yep.
Let's look ahead and let's try to make you Nostradamus real quick. If you had to call it right now, would you say that SKC is a playoff team?
Yes, I would. I said they were before the season. Even a few games into it, I thought they would be able to right the ship a little bit. And it doesn't take a lot to be a playoff team. I mean, right now, we're 7 points out of a playoff spot, 6 or 7 points out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, I'll pull up those standings right now.
Yeah. And, that doesn't look pretty being down there next to each other, but like two wins and we're in a playoff spot, right? So it's feasible. It's a long season still. We're 10 games into it. So we can both make it, man. We just got to start getting some points.
Well, let's go ahead and look at where these two teams stand going into this match. After 10 matches played, of course, the Galaxy winless with the 0-7-3 record, 8 goals for, 20 against, still on 3 points, 0.33 points per game, a -12 goal difference, 15th and last place there in the West. Still the only team yet to win a game in the West. One of 2 teams in the league not to win a game. Actually dead last in the league, gents. They are dead last in the Supporter Shield race. And if this pattern holds, they are on track to be the worst MLS team in league history, which is something I never thought I would say after last year. Let's go ahead and look at where SKC stands after 10 matches played. They've picked up a couple of wins now. 2-7-1 is their record. 16 goals for, 21 against, on 7 points, 0.7 points per game, -5 goal differential, just above the Galaxy in 14th. Like we mentioned, they have looked a lot better under Carey since he took over for Peter Vermees, and. Yeah. I mean, that you're right. That first win comes kind of like as a Hollywood story, Plus they get that new coach bump, and you mentioned this team is 8th in scoring. Well, they've scored 11 goals in their last 5 matches, scoring multiple goals in 3 of its last 4 matches. Since April 5th, after scoring multiple goals just once during that 13 match winless streak. However, you mentioned the defense a couple times already. They have conceded 11 goals in 5 matches, and they do have a higher goals conceded rate of 2.1 versus the Galaxy's 2 flat. That last match, that 2-1 loss on the road versus Cincinnati, came courtesy of a wonder goal, a bicycle kick, which was, let's face it, a worldie, or else they walk out of there with at least a point. Before that, their form finds them with the 5-3 win on the road versus San Jose. That was a Daniel Shalhoub special. He scored a brace, and SKC has won 2 of its last 4 matches since April 5th, after that club record 13-match winless streak that began in September of last year. Yes,
Yeah.
Ananda?
Rob, no, I was gonna ask that a quick question because he brought up a point earlier about us two. Well, obviously we both need to pick up points to make the playoffs, but I mean even now, 10 games in the season, I mean 3 points. It seems like a long shot, but asking for a friend here, if I'm not mistaken, the 2023 version of Sporting Kansas City did also have 3 points after the first 10 games of the season, and they made the playoffs that year. I think it was sort of a brilliant run, a brilliant stretch run. So I guess
a
from
Peter
your
Vermees
perspective,
special.
exactly, an escape route. I guess from your perspective, what if anything can you say about putting that stretch run in? Like, what needs to happen, or what did you experience that season? What were the formulas, the things that changed to, I guess, make the fans believe that you could make the playoffs, but more importantly, made Vermees, Vermees made his team believe about making the playoffs, digging that big of a hole?
Well, I'll go down 2 routes here very briefly. Back when Sporting KC first rebranded and we had the new stadium, they had to go on the road for 10 games and they didn't get a lot of results, right? So in the back of Peter's mind is you can go on the road, you can suck for 10 games and you can still come back. And they made the playoffs and they did really well the rest of the season but again, most of those were at home. In 2023 though, we had the benefit of, we were talking about Alan Polito earlier, and he was coming back from that injury, and he was coming back into the team in those first games. And then also Gadi Kinda had the same injury. So we had 2 DPs out the year before, and then 2 DPs coming back off of that injury, same injury essentially. And both of them starting to get healthy. And the longer it went, the better they got until Polito signed his new contract. But the better they got, and then that's how we were able to do much better that year. So if you guys have somebody coming back off of injury in the next couple of weeks, that's your plan.
Next couple of months, maybe not next couple of weeks. We have this one Spanish guy. This one guy.
No, he's pretty good. I've heard.
I heard he's pretty good. That's what the street says. But yeah. Anyways, it's gonna be an uphill battle, Rob.
It is. We've already talked about it. I mean, this match is the battle of the cellar dwellers. It's last versus second to last. And this last year was very different. The Galaxy took the season series. They actually haven't lost to Sporting Kansas City in their last 5 meetings. The last time that Sporting Kansas City beat the Galaxy was on August 6th, 2022. 2 guys that we've already talked about a couple times, Eric Tommy and Daniel Shelby. They both got the goals there. This is the 82nd meeting between these 2 teams, gentlemen. LA leads the series 33, 29, and 19. This will be a Sunday night soccer match. I'm sure MLS thought this one was going to be a very, very different kind of matchup when they scheduled this one for Sunday night soccer. I'm sure the Don is so pleased that this is the Sunday night soccer match against Sporting Kansas City. The Galaxy hold a 28, 26, and 18 record in 37 all-time matches played on the road against Kansas City. The Galaxy hold a 10, 18, and 9 record. It has not been a kind place for them to play. I've already mentioned they swept the season series last year. They got that 3-2 come from behind win, and then they got that 4-2 win at the Digs. That's one of only 2 wins that the Galaxy have picked up at Children's Mercy Park recently. Was that 3-2 come from behind? The last 3 regular season meetings have seen both teams score at least 2 goals each, guys. So there will probably be goals in this match. I'd be very surprised if there isn't. The 3 meetings have produced 15 total goals, 6 for Sporting and 9 for the Galaxy. Now, you already mentioned Ricky Puig and how he's just an anonymous Spaniard who might be injured, who might be influential on this team. Who knows? But that we saw the injury report for SKC. Do you have any update on Rosero, Davis, and Fernandez?
Yeah, early in the week, Rosero and Davis were both in practice, and Joaquin Fernandez was just running around the side. So I'm pretty sure he'll be out for this weekend. I think Davis and Rosero will be available. So Rosero could be one of the center backs that fills in back into the rotation. He's got his moments of really great play and moments of how did you let that in? Jake Davis
Sounds
is
familiar.
yeah. Jake Davis is a homegrown who he's been moved around a little bit. He's been put out. He's a midfielder that had to fill in at right back a lot over the last couple of years because we can't seem to have healthy right backs. And he's now kind of back into the midfield. And so he adds a lot of bite in the midfield. He's he's not going to be the most offensive guy, but he can also score a couple goals here and there, and he can do some assists. So he's not going to be like a 10, but he can do a little damage out there. So hopefully he's back out there if he's healthy. But if not, they'll have Nemanja Radoja or Radia. It depends on who tells me how I'm supposed to say it that day. Probably Bartlett and then Manu Garcia in the midfield.
We also, learned recently that SKC picked up forward Santi Munoz on loan from Santos Laguna. The 22-year-old, he has a contract through the remainder of the 2025 season, and SKC has a purchase option now. What do you expect him to bring to this team? Do you expect him to be an instant starter? Do you expect him to be more of an impact sub?
Well, yeah, I think he's probably going to be more of the sub because obviously Dejan's going to be the starter unless something really weird happens or he's injured or just needs rest. I think Santi will probably come off the bench to fill in for him because the only other when we got Santiago Munez, we also sold William Agata to Salt Lake,
right?
So him and Johnny Russell can hang out together. Which is going to be really as weird as it is for you guys to see Dejan in a Sporting KC uniform. That's how weird it's going to be to see Johnny Russell in a Salt Lake uniform. So it's just not right.
It's not right how he used to torment the Galaxy.
Yeah, that exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yep.
He was always that player that I was like, oh man, Russell, you dog, you dog. But I could imagine how if he had ever been in blue, white, and gold, I would have loved having him in the colors. I mean, he just seems like that kind of player, right? We do have a super chat here from executive producer Herb. Thank you so much for popping in with that super chat. XPH, he says, hey, Ananda, hey, Rob, glad you guys are back. Tony Maiola has always been my favorite USA keeper, so I found myself rooting for the Wizards back in 2000. Certain former Galaxy GM was on that roster. I think I know who we're talking about, Ananda.
That's right.
He was a favorite player of mine at one point. Then he went over to the dark side, and then wasn't always very good for you guys.
Oh no, he was. I mean, when I've told Ananda when I was a lad and didn't cover the team, and I used to be young and wild and unruly, and go with my friends and primos to what was then the Home Depot Center. He would be around, and I would just heckle him because I didn't think he did a great job whatsoever as Galaxy GM. I don't think he really does a great job in any of the labors that he has. But anyway, that's a different story for a different time. We will don't get me started, Thad. Don't get me started, XPH. See how you guys get me triggered. Anyway, we'll keep it moving here. Ananda, do you want to go ahead and take us through what you see in this Galaxy starting lineup, and then we'll go ahead and kick it over to Thad, who will kind of go ahead and do the same for SKC.
Yeah. Well, this was the last starting lineup, for our home game against the Timbers. Of course, that ended up in a 4-2 loss. Look, I think the big thing here is we saw Marco Reus come off the bench, right, Rob, for the last, I want to say 30 or some odd minutes. I think that decision, that's the first thing I'm going to look at is the decision in the midfield. We know that the midfield has not been good this season. It's been underperforming. Of course, we've lost a few key pieces, but I think the injection of Marco Reus in that second half really gave the team a lift. It gave the team a different look against Portland. And I mean, we scored 2 goals in less than 10 minutes, right? So it just shows the attacking power that we have with Marco Reus in there. I don't think look, he's been bad, but I don't think anyone can convince me otherwise that with that type of quality in the midfield, you're just a better team on the pitch with him, especially in an attacking sense. Now, the only thing is Greg needs to get the balance right. So he needs to put the right midfield pieces around him. He needs to put, some protection in front of the back four, because for all of Mark and Royce's attacking abilities, he's not going to give you that much on the defensive end or from a combative, like, tackling sense, right? Trying to win the ball back. So you're going to have to surround him with pieces that will move past the ball, run past him. He's not going to make those channel runs, so someone's going to have to make the channel runs for him, and that can't all be on Joseph Paintsel and Gabriel Peck, because I'm sure all teams, not just SKC, but all teams are going to have game plans of making sure that they double, triple up on the wingers, because they know that's the best way for the LA Galaxy to hurt their team, right? So I think that's where I'm looking at, man, is the midfield. Everything else should probably be pretty set in stone. The only thing that's going to be interesting to the other selection is at left back. Does Greg opt for a more attacking option like Julian Aude? Because again, we've just struggled to create consistent offense and generate clean looks on goal. So does he put him back in the fold there at left back to give us that verticality up and down that left-hand side with Joseph Paintsel? So that'll be interesting to see as well. But no, for me, man, the big thing is Marco Royce.
You had me cracking up over here, man, because
he's been bad. He's been bad.
That's exactly what you had cracking up about, because I was like, oh damn, I gotta.
Am I lying though? Like,
no,
he's been.
But
awful.
It was funny because you were like kind of like pumping him up 1 second, and then like directly after you were like, he's been bad, and I was like,
well, two things can be true at the same time. Like, he can be bad, but we know that he has a lot of ability in him. He's the guy that can change the game. I mean, we saw it against Portland. We saw glimpses of it last year in his debut against Atlanta. Granted, he had Ricky Puig with him on the pitch, so just really good chemistry there. But ability wise, like, you can't say that he's got that type of talent that can unlock a defense. So we need him. And like I said, so two things can be true at the same time, right?
I suppose that is true as well. Thad, tell us what you see in this SKC starting lineup, and then you've mentioned this young center back a couple of different times, but tell us more about Jansen Miller's emergence.
Yeah, I mean, he's still young, so he's making some mistakes. He was a draft pick out of college. One of the cool things is he grew up in St. Louis, but he doesn't like St. Louis, the team. So it just makes him more loved here. He's still going to make some mistakes. He will get aggressive at times. He's just a young center back as far as experience. So I think he's a guy who could be around for a long time in this league. But he still has if you're looking for a guy to like take you to an MLS Cup right now, he's probably not the guy, right? If you're looking for a guy to maybe take you to MLS Cup in a couple years, that he might be the guy. So I think he probably starts, and Rosero, if he does start, will probably come in for Volader. I mean, could come in for either one, and he might only play 45 minutes because that's happened to him a couple times this year too. But I would say out of the lineup that you have here, the front three is what's going to start. The mid, like I said earlier, could be Jake Davis come in for Radoya, but I think that's probably the lineup that's going to go. On the back line, it could be Brody, Andrew Brody, who we picked up from Salt Lake because he never gets injured, played a little bit of time for us and got injured. And so he's back now. Kyrie Shelton is another guy who wasn't a defender but has filled in there and over the last couple of years. So he's gotten to be a serviceable right back, but it's still nice to have a guy who naturally plays defense. And then Ndembe on the outside on the left, I think you probably have the lineup pretty close right there.
Ananda, what do you see in the stats that will dictate this match?
Yeah, I think we talked about it a little bit, but these might crystallize it for you guys, and we'll get Thad's reaction to this as well if anything pops out, or if everything is matching his eye test of what he's seeing with his squad this year. But I pulled up just a couple of key stats. I think this is interesting, Rob, which is, and this is a very similar thing that we looked at when we analyzed this Portland team, which is, if you look at the underlying stats offensively now on the top row there, you look at that and you say, okay, they're 25th in expected goals, 10.5, 20th in shots on target per match, 3.9, big chances, they're 23rd in the league. So they're in the bottom third of the league on these offensive categories. But the thing is, they've got 16 goals this season. So what you can say, and this is what we saw with Portland as well, and they pumped 4 on us, right? So, you look at that and you say, Ananda, well, we're probably playing a bad offensive team, right? Well, no, that's not the case, because you know why? They're overperforming their XG. And now, look, I don't know if that's going to carry out through the rest of the season, or if things are going to regress back to the mean. I'm not sure what that means, but what we do know is they are converting their chances, because yes, they may be 20th in shots on target, Rob, but they have the 3rd highest conversion rate in MLS at 16% goal conversion, behind Miami and the team we just faced last week in Portland. So they know how to put the ball in the back of the net. And on top of that, out of their 22 big chances that you see there, Rob, 15 of them have come since Zavagnin took over. So again, what we can say is this is a better offensive team than the underlying stats suggest. And I think Thad alluded to that earlier as well, especially when you have a confident striker like Dejan Joveljic. Again, you always have a chance there of putting the ball in the back of the net. You look at defensively, again, these are 2 not very good defensive teams. Actually conceded. The Galaxy and SKC are in the top, bottom 6 really, because right, the higher actually conceded, that's not where you want to be. But it's interesting because if you look at the tackles per match, 5th at 11.5, and possessions won final third per match at 4.5. You can say that they're not like the Galaxy, because if you look at the Galaxy in these categories, they're kind of more towards the bottom. So they are a combative team. They can win tackles in important areas of the pitch. They do not maybe to the rate of a Philadelphia Union or San Jose Earthquakes, but they do win the ball back high up at the pitch. So again, for us, that's always being alert, not making mistakes, right, Rob? Which we've been shooting ourselves in the foot this year with defensive mistakes and lapses in concentration, because this is a team that might snap at you and pick the ball, in a dangerous area of the pitch, and now you're caught in a transition, you're caught in an outnumbered attack going the other way. And what is the Galaxy's Achilles heel been the last 5 seasons, Rob? Which is defensive transitions, right? That's been the number one thing that's hurt this team. I mean, that's been a consistent theme for Greg Vanney for the last few years. So that's just something we got to watch. But those are the things that I picked out there that heading into this game.
Ananda, you know that you're usually a stats guy, but the Galaxy have reached the 10 match mark. It is a quarter at least of the season gone. So I felt like it was a good sample size to kind of see where this team was at. Thankfully, there are a variety of sources out there now that kind of helped pull some of these stats together. So shout out to FOTMob and Sport Tech and FOTMob, and even Sporting KC Comms helped out a little bit here. So shout out to them. So 4 of Los Angeles' 7 regular season losses have come by multiple goals. It'll make this more fun if like you go, oh, after I shut out a stat, because these are just damning. This is terrible. Conceded more than 5 XG combined over the past 2 weeks. Oh,
yay!
11 goals conceded in the last 5 matches, same like Sporting Kansas City. No clean sheets in MLS this year. Yeah. They've been outscored 8-2 after the 75th minute and during the season this year. They've conceded 8 goals after the 75th minute, 3 more than any other team in the league. They've only scored first and led at halftime once in these 10 matches. Greg Vanney teams are known as possession-based teams. This is where they are kind of excelling here. They're second in the league in pass accuracy, 6th in average possession, the burden of possession. They rank 26th in successful balls into the box from open play, 29th in crossing accuracy, Ananda, and last in successful open play crosses. So you're seeing a team, obviously, that doesn't like to cross the ball in there, but they rank 28th in the league in both expected goals per 90 minutes and expected goals conceded per 90 minutes at 0.99 and 2.1. At 2.1. And this is the stat that's really damning, Ananda. And I want to get your thoughts on this one and perhaps, Thad, what it says to you as as an outside person looking at, the reigning MLS Cup champions and perhaps what it might say about where they're at this moment. According to Sport Tech, Ananda, LA ranks 28th in MLS in distance covered per 90, 29th in distance covered via high-speed runs per 90, and last in distance covered per 90. I mean, what jumps out to me is that, are these cats just not working that hard? I mean, it seems like they are when I watch these matches, right? But the data isn't supporting that. I mean, we'll go ahead and have Ananda's thoughts, and then what perhaps that can go ahead and glean from these stats right here.
Yeah, I don't think, well, for my eye test, I don't think that it's so much about work rate. And I think this is probably more of a representation of how Greg Vanney wants to play. He's a guy that, for me, and I could be wrong about this, but more in the sort of Guardiola / all the possession-based coaches out there. Like, he's more of that type of coach where it's all about control, managing your distances, not having to make too many recovery runs, and dominating.
So no need to make those runs, and that's why you have less distance covered.
Well, not necessarily not a need to, but less more so. And it's about intricate play. It's about getting numerical and time advantages. Those are terminologies that he's used in press conferences, right, to you and your colleagues, Rob, over and over again. And it's just, to basically break teams down. I mean, for him, the best defense is offense. It's the other team can't score when you have the ball, right? But in terms of the distances covered, I think it's more of a reflection of how Greg Vanney wants to play, and maybe less so about work rate. But what I will say, though, is I don't think enough guys this year have made, whether it's on the offensive end, so channel runs, getting in the right spaces. And so when that happens, Rob, your teammates aren't going to be looking for you. They're not going to be looking for that ball over the top or that ball down the line that is going to hit you in space. Last year, we did more of that, right? And again, I don't know technically how Sport Tech tracks those runs necessarily, if it's off the ball runs, et cetera. That's what I'm assuming. So yeah, I think it's more about just how we try to control games with our possession. Now, obviously, you talked about the burden possession. We haven't done, diddly squat with that possession this year. I'm pretty sure Thad can attest to the same with SKC, but maybe to more of an effect. But yeah, I look at it from that way. I could be wrong, Rob, but I think that's more of a reflection of how Greg Vanney wants to play versus lack of effort or just no work rate, right?
What, if anything, does these stats on distance covered and work rate say to you, Thad?
Well, I haven't watched you guys as much as I would probably have liked to, just because I'm always at the other games. But I'm going to kind of agree with what you were just saying, is that a lot of it is just a matter of the possession. If you're a possession team, you let the ball do the runs, you let the ball make the moves, and your runs are going to be shorter if you're trying to penetrate into the box, because if you're possessing, you're in the attacking third. Guys are making shorter runs and then you lose the ball. You got to make one long run, but it's it's not showing up in the stats if you have consistent possession for a while and you only have to make the one run back. So I think that's kind of, I'm agreeing with what you were just saying, a lot of that, because we've seen that with Sporting KC when they have had a lot of possession in the last few years, but then they couldn't find somebody to help them penetrate and make those runs. And I think you're seeing that issue now because you have lost Ricky and you've lost Dejan and that sort of thing. So you don't have the guys who can make those penetrating passes to a guy who's making the penetrating run as much as you used to. And that's why guys like, Dejan are so worth a lot of money. And, you guys overspent and got a cup and now you're paying the price for it. And, sorry, but I know you guys already know that.
Truth.
But that's, I mean, and I'm not trying to rub it in, man. I'm, you guys are nice. I don't have anything against you guys. It's just what it is, right?
Lies. We're not nice. Come on.
Well, so far you are. I mean, when I get off here, maybe you'll talk bad about me. I don't know. I don't think so. You seem like nice guys.
We don't do that. No.
I didn't think so. But that's just, it's the way teams are. When you don't have the penetration, one reason Sporting is doing better over the last few games is Carey's prioritizing getting the runs into the box, where under Vermees we were prioritizing more of the possession and trying to get people out of position so we could take the shot, and we were taking a lot of shots outside the box, where we're taking more shots inside the box now and getting more goals. And I think that is definitely how it plays much more into Dejan's style. It plays into Manu's style. A lot before, we would possess, we'd play it out to the wing, we'd cross in, it would be lost, the ball goes down the field, we're hauling ass to get back to it. And I think you guys are seeing some of that issue now with not having the right guys to be in there at the moment. So maybe again, I'm still hoping, like, for in the summer window, we pick up somebody who helps us get across the line. I know you guys were money tight coming into this year for a lot of reasons, and we didn't have a lot, but we have more now than we did before. So hopefully we can pick somebody up and make a move. Doesn't help us for this game though.
And then, you guys could go ahead and just give Dejan right back, and then everyone's happy.
The price went up, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sell price went up
by a couple million. But yeah, we've already spoken about a couple of these danger men for Sporting Kansas City already. Shallowy, I mean, you said that he was probably the main beneficiary from this coaching change. 4 goals and 2 assists. Certainly, he's playing with a lot of freedom. Eric Tommy, who we've spoken about, coming off the bench. He has 3 goal contributions in only 39 minutes across the last 2 appearances. He has 2 goals and 2 assists on the season. Deki, who we've spoken about, 5 goals and 1 assist. Interestingly enough, all 5 of those goals come at home. Boys, I was listening to Deki's press conference, and he is basically backing up with that. Said these players are playing with more freedom. They're getting into the box a lot quicker. He said one of the main features of this attack now is try to get the ball forward quickly. And it was always a pleasure to see Dejan smiling and happy here. It was still a pleasure to see him happy and smiling there. One player, however, that we haven't talked a lot about is Manu Garcia. He took a little while to go ahead and get acclimated, but now he has a goal and 2 assists. He ranks 2nd in MLS in goal creating actions, 3rd in progressive passes, and 5th in successful passes into the final third. So we have these danger men, who are the men that are expected to carry this SKC attack forward, Thad. But who is the X factor for this team? Who is the guy who's not named Dejan, who's not named Manu, who's not named Daniel Shalhoub, that's going to be the guy who's going to put this team over the line if they want to go ahead and get 3 points?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure if I have a great answer, but I'm going to go with Shapi Suleiman. Shapi. I'm just going to say Shapi. I'm terrible with last names. He's a little feisty. He's a little wiry. He's not very big. Him and Manu they played together in Greece, so they came as a package. That we were actually over there scouting Manu Garcia and trying to make a deal with him. And Eris was like, "Hey, would you like we want more money?" And they said, "Well, we'll throw in a player for you." So that's how we got Shapi. But they knew each other, so they had a little connection already. So he's taken over the right wing. He's not a Johnny Russell. He's not fiery in quite a Johnny Russell way. He's not. You're not gonna be scared to go down an alleyway because Johnny might kill you. He's like more like he might rob you. I don't know. That's probably a bad analogy, man. I apologize, but he's not as slippery, but he's still going to pull out some moves, man. He's so if you're not going to give me Dejan, you're not going to give me Shalhoub, you're not going to give me Manu, I'm going to go with him.
Right on. So that start thinking about this one here. We usually do something on the show called fill in the blank. Your fill in the blank is for SKC to win this match. They have to ... Start thinking about that one here for a sec, and chat. Go ahead and start throwing your for the Galaxy to win this match. They have to ... Again, you know what it is, guys. For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... Start throwing them there in chat. as always, we want to say thank you to chat for doing what you do and going off and keeping it lively and entertaining. Go ahead and make sure to hit that like. Go ahead and hit that subscribe, and let us know. Comments as well, and let us know if you have any comments on this video or any suggestions on this video. So go ahead and hit those comments up as well. Thad, it is time for SKC to win this match. They have to.
I have one question. Is this serious or fun?
You can make it whatever you want.
Yeah.
Oh, well, for serious, I mean, we just got to feed Dejan. We got to give him opportunities. Okay.
Pretty simple. Yeah.
For fun, we just need one of our guys to take out Royce. Although that might make you better, right?
He doesn't need help with that. Thad. I mean, you probably haven't seen it, but I did an interview with MLS analyst Michele Giannone, and I didn't know, but apparently Royce owes this man money or something like that, because Michele was basically, he said he's the type of player that we shouldn't be signing in MLS anymore, and we should be going away from these kinds of players. And that was one of the nicer things that he said. So
yeah, he was very critical, but he has a point, and I'm just glad he's not a DP. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and I imagine Royce would actually be much better for you guys if you had just the pieces around him to do all the running for him.
Yeah,
because he's just not that guy right now. I don't know if he ever really was. I mean, he's obviously a guy who was super talented and all that stuff at one point. Still talented, but there's reason players fit into teams, and he was an extra piece for you guys to get you across the line last year. Great, but he's not the guy to stay there now when you have lost all these other pieces.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
So maybe the thing that we need to do to win is just make sure he's out there. So if he's not starting, we need to injure somebody and get him out there. I'm kidding. I'm not ever advocating for anybody to be injured.
I mean, he doesn't need help there. I mean, he.
Ooh, I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you want to, because his replacement would be Diego Fagundes. I don't know if you want to rile him up this season. He's been a fiery character all season long. So, yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. Is we start him and injure him and bring Royce on. So that's again. I'm never wanting to advocate for anybody being injured. So,
Deguito is a fiery lad for sure. Thad, we just have one more thing we need from you before we let you go tonight, and it's a prediction on this match. We are going to hold this receipt for eternity. Now I'm just playing. But it now it is your time, and chat. So go ahead and start throwing those predictions as well in chat. Joe 13 Cool said for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to ... play hard the full 90 and score. I mean, it's basically the feed Dejan principle that just said. The Galaxy needs to make those chances and convert. Thad, your prediction, sir.
It'll be a 1-goal game, 3-2 or 4-3. This has all the earmarks of two bad teams wanting to win, having the capability to score, having not the best defense. So let's see some goals, man. I want to get some photos of some celebrations. Although Dejan said he won't celebrate if he scores on you.
Oh, that's
he did say that. Yeah, muted celebration maybe.
Yeah, I mean he'll celebrate, but it won't be like a running gun down the field, grabbing himself kind of celebration like he did that one day. on Kids Day, no less.
Dejan, I love you. Yeah, I mean, shout out to him, because I don't know if you knew this stat, but there was a G in the community that was going through some financial hardships, and Dejan made it possible for her to keep a signed jersey. I mean, she was going through it so bad that she was auctioning off a signed Dejan jersey, and he made it possible for her to go ahead and keep that item. So shout out to Dejan. I mean, he was a great part of this community over here.
Yeah.
So you're calling a 4-3 or a 3-2, but have you said for who yet?
Oh, Kansas City. Sorry. Not that I don't think you guys are capable of winning, because we are very capable of losing. We've proven that. But I think the biggest difference right now with this team is they have finally got a boost of confidence. It wasn't a one game and a bad loss. It was, it's been a win, a loss, a win, a loss, but both of the losses showed some good things. The team, there's the different voice, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, we have a little more confidence and a little more, whatever that quality is, the intangible thing that makes teams win. And you guys are still trying to find that, and you're going through all the stuff Kansas City did the last couple of years.
Yeah.
No lies detected by our new friend Thad, who we want to let go because he's on a time difference. We want to say thank you to you for coming on, man, and telling us all about SKC and what Galaxy could expect to see from them on this weekend. Two teams that are at the bottom of the table. Thad, go ahead and remind us where we can find you, and then we'll let you go, man.
On Twitter at the back post, on Blue Sky, Thad.Bell something, Blue Sky, and Thad_photo on Instagram. But you can find all that stuff at kcsoccerjournal.com. We cover all the local soccer teams, Sporting, the KC Current, even indoor soccer, and anything else when we get a chance.
Hey, man, thank you so much for being here with us
Thad.
today. Open invitation to come back to La Cuna Galaxiana whenever these two teams face off against each other again.
We'll have to have you on. We'll have to have you on one of our pods, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
We would love to. We would love to. Just let us know. We'll show up. Probably still in last place.
At least we're parked next to each other, right? I mean, we don't have far to walk to talk to each other, right?
Exactly. Just show up and be like, oh, there's my friend Thad. How you doing? So all you can do is laugh about it right now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I take it you're not coming to Kansas City this weekend.
No, I mean, Ananda's the Cosmopolitan one. There was no budget for the Sporting Kansas City trip. Although I do need to make it out there. Ananda and I actually were kicking it around last year, and it didn't happen. It doesn't look like it's going to happen this year. But there is always you being able to come here in September when Sporting Kansas City comes here.
There is that chance, yes. My budget is not that high at the moment either, but I have made 2 trips out there now, because you didn't even ask like any of my history, man. I'm actually a season ticket holder for the KC Wiz from 1996. I still have season tickets, even though I don't use them. My wife, daughter, friends use them because I shoot the game and get press credentials and stuff. But so yeah, I'm an original season ticket holder, and so I have made trips out there and seen some really bad games.
Yeah. That was probably 2017 when you caught those bad games, or 2023. When was the wooden spoon year, Ananda? Was it 2017 or
2017? There was a goalless draw in there, like a absolute a couple goalless draws, a couple goalless slugfest. Yeah, but
no, I was out there for a playoff game in 2000, maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I can't remember if that was our cup year or if it was a different year, or maybe it was 2004. But anyway, I was out there for one of those.
Well, hopefully we see you again in September. The one and only Rocio showing some love says thank you for coming on the pod, Thad. Our sentiments exactly. Thank you so much for being here with us, and
thank you guys, man,
for taking the time. Go ahead and hit up his socials, show him some love, show his work some love. These photos are wonderful. He mentioned that he's not only shooting, Sporting Kansas City, but indoor soccer as well. And some of these photos that I saw of the indoor shots are wonderful. There's one that I absolutely loved that was of a bicycle kick. So, La Cuna Galaxians, Cuneros, go ahead and show this man some love. Thad, we can't wait to hook up with you again, man. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Well, Ananda, you heard Thad's prediction. An SKC win by 4-3 or 3-2. We'll get your prediction here in a moment. You'll go first because I went first last time. But
So
before
wrong.
we get there, you didn't answer the question of for the Galaxy to win this match, they have to.
Well, since I'm going first on the prediction, why don't you go first on that, Papa? Why don't you go first? Let's trade here.
Okay.
Because
Sounds
my
good.
answer is probably going to be similar as yours. To be fair, I think we're going to be down the same line of thinking. But go ahead.
Man, where do we even start? For the Galaxy to win this match, they have to limit their own mistakes. They just have to make sure that they play a clean game. Don't
Clean. It's been the operative word for Greg this year, and that's
don't mess up. I mean,
Yeah.
This one is supposed to have a lot of goals in it, right? So how
Yes.
big would it be if Greg's defense went out there and scored him a shutout, right? And not only scored him a shutout, but won a 1-0 or 2-0. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but how big would it be, right? So, I mean, they just need to play a game where they're defensively sound. I mean, that match against Steeders was a prime example of, and that 0-0 was a prime example of the Galaxy putting in a good defensive shift and you know, saying like, hey, you know, we're not getting it done one way. Let's try to get it done another way.
Yeah, that was at home, though. This is away from home, so it's a different kettle of fish. But back to your point around being defensively sound, let me pull this up now before I get back to my answer. I think this is a good time to pull it up, which is the betting odds, Rob. And we've alluded to this a little bit.
Oh, you and Dr. Raquinho got down?
Yeah, exactly. But you guys alluded to this earlier, and Thad did as well. But historically speaking, this has been a high goal scoring game. Like this is a high goal scoring fixture. And if I pull up the betting odds for a second, so right now SKC is at a minus 105. That's 51% win probability. LA Galaxy is at a plus 260, 28%, which is not terrible, honestly, for the road team. And the draw there is at a plus 255. I can see that happening, actually, a high scoring. And again, I don't want to throw my prediction out there now, but that's not out of the question.
Why?
And if you look at the head to head, this is some of the stuff that you were talking about, Rob. But from an odds perspective, match goals at 2.5 at a minus 162 for the over and at a plus 125 for the under. So what Vegas is saying is that this is going to be a high scoring game, right? You look at the minus 162 for over 2.5 goals. That's really the line there. And if you look at this is based off of history. So the last five out of 6 games, there's been over 2.5 goals. Both teams have scored the last 5 out of 6 games. No clean sheet for either team in the last 3. In 3. So yeah, there's going to be goals in this game, right? The odds are saying this is going to be a high scoring game. Of course, the home team is going to always have the favorite. So it's predicting an SKC win. So going to your point, being defensively sound, I don't know if this fixture has that written in it, Rob. I mean, and the other thing too is just the Galaxy have not. I mean, I'm not even say for this year, really for the past year or so, even last year, like we've never been a good defensive team. We've always been good enough, is what I can say, right? We've gotten better. We were better throughout the later parts of the year last year, and especially into the playoffs, but the Galaxy won games last year because we were able to outscore teams. We were able to strike fear in opponents on the offensive end. The only outlier to that game was the Western Conference final against Seattle, where that we had to literally just slug it out, right? That was sort of those one-off matches, but again, in an MLS playoff type of setting. So I think for me, man, for the Galaxy to win, and this just might be overly simplified, but we need to score first, Papa. We need to score first. We've only scored first, I believe, once out of the first 10 games. The other damning stat that I remember Josh has repeatedly said in his last couple of pods, which is the Galaxy have only been in a winning position this year, Rob, 62 minutes this MLS season. That is damning. Like 62 minutes, less than a game, a little bit more than a half. And that was when we had the lead against Orlando at home. Right, those minutes there. So we just need to score. I mean, someone said in the chat earlier we need to score, but we need to score first, because on the road, if you score first, you're now coming into it where you were the road team before and maybe there's some jitters. Of course, Children's Mercy has never been a kind place. Before our win last year, the last win was at Children's Mercy was in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. Hasn't been a good place to play, right? So we need to score first to not only settle the crowd down, settle the nerves down, give us confidence, because this team is shot on confidence, completely shot, right? You can't tell me that a team that's 0-6-3 has any sort of confidence in it, at least to be able to get us over the line. So scoring first, though, would go a long way in doing that, in my opinion.
No, you're absolutely right. Score first, get some of those. You already know this team is carrying that stress, that pressure of having not won, right? So scoring first would go a long way into kind of having them remember, hey, we're the champs, we won that title, let's go ahead and try to start playing with that swagger and that confidence again. And you said it on the last time we were with each other a week ago. Confidence is huge. So if you get that first goal and you take that crowd out of it, I mean, anything's possible at that point.
Yeah, it's a good start, at least. Really quick, Rob, Adam with the $2 super. Thanks, Adam. Do you guys know who the referee will be Sunday? I haven't seen a report yet, but you know who is in the chat, by the way, and we'll give you an excellent referee report is none other than Edgar Nags from News Across the Galaxy. Keep on nagging, y'all.
Keep on nagging.
Catch their pod. They had a midweek show as well, previewing this. So Edgar always puts out a really, really good referee report for every week. So that's probably going to be your best. But I haven't seen any reports yet who the referee is this weekend.
I was trying to check a moment ago, and as luck would have it, just like the performances on the field, that website is broken. The pro refs referee, so busted on the field,
their calls, yeah, exactly, like their calls on the field last week.
Yeah, and Edgar Nags confirms here. Sorry, fellas, the pro website has been down for 3 days.
Yeah,
I can confirm. I was trying to check just now, and yeah, all I gotta say is all busted. Pro ref, get it together, pro ref. Damn. All right, so since I went first for fill in the blank, go ahead and go first for predictions, man.
Yeah, I'm going for a high scoring draw, whether it's a 2-2, a 3-3, something like that. I'm taking the over on the 2.5, right? I think there's going to be at least 3, 4, 5 goals. Again, I think it's going to be a draw though, so it's probably like 4 goals, 6 goals, whatever that may be. Look, I think that's right. Which is, I think these are two bad defensive teams, and I think they'll go at each other because both teams are desperate for a win. Both teams are desperate for the Galaxy are more desperate for 3 points, but I will take a point in this game because we need something to build off of, right? We're on, like I said before, we're on this 3-game road trip. We're on this 3-game roadie. We've got an MLS final rematch next weekend on top of Philadelphia following midweek. So we need to start off the road trip in the right foot. But the question is, what Galaxy team are going to show up, Rob? I mean, are we going to be what Marco Roy says, which is we're not, what was his exact quote? Like, we're okay with losing or something like that, or I forgot what the exact quote was.
No, we have to hate
losing. That's what it was. We have to hate losing, and so is that motivation going to come out? Is that message in the locker room going to manifest itself on the pitch? Are we going to play desperate out the gates like we did the last 30 minutes of the game against Portland when we were down 3-0, right? We can't dig ourselves huge holes like that because, especially away from home at a place that's been unkind to us, they will punish us, right? They've got obviously Deki, but they have a front three that's going to cause us problems. I mean, their movement's going to cause us problems, so we have to be aware there. But yeah, man, high scoring draw. I think this is good. I think this is going to be a goal fest, even with two teams that offensively, well, again, SKC, I think the stats are misleading. We haven't been good enough offensively, but I think there's going to be, mistakes, defensive lapses, whatnot. And this is going to be entertaining. And this is more of a head pick, but yeah, high scoring draw, 2-2, 3-3. We need a point though. We really need all three, but we need any points that we can get because we are already 10 points out of ninth place, or already this early in the season, which is ridiculous.
You've been very clippable tonight.
Someone clip me, please.
what did
Yeah,
you
I'm
just
on
say
it. I'm on a
right
heater. I
Yeah,
can't even
you've
remember.
been very, very clippable tonight. You were like, no, I don't even
Oh no,
know.
I
But it was like,
said he's been bad. I said Marco Royce has been bad, but it was the context around it because I was hyping
no,
him
no,
up, and then
that was earlier. You just
yeah,
you
yeah.
just said something right now when I was like, oh man, clip this guy. Edgar Nags with the super chat. Thank you, Edgar Nags. $2 super chat says, "What if Dejan scores and celebrates?" Thad, who was our guest a little bit earlier, already let us know that Dejan said that he would not celebrate that. I mean, his goal. I don't know if I did ask online earlier, how many goals would Dejan score? So it just maybe he won't celebrate his first one, but his second, third, and fourth he'll celebrate. Hopefully it
Yeah.
doesn't come to that. But yeah, shout out to the Nag boys and Edgar Nags. Thank you for that one. Well, Ananda, I'm gonna go totally heart. I need it. I need it. Just I've already told you all the reasons why this is purely a heart pick and not a head pick. The data does not support this pick at all. But I loved having Thad on because he was talking about stuff like those intangibles that teams that bring teams victories, right? There's other intangibles as well, like like a team being with their back against the wall and finding that moment of camaraderie or like togetherness to be able to go ahead and rise above and get that victory. I'm basically Disneyfying Galaxy versus SKC here at the moment, right? But at some point, it's got to happen for the Galaxy, right? I mean, they got to get that first win at some point, right? Or else, I don't think it's conceivable that they'll go through the entire season without a victory. But like I said, they got to get that first win sometime. So I've already said it on a couple of pods previously. They're due. Damn it if they aren't due. Hopefully they go ahead and get it against SKC.
Overdue.
Totally a heart. Yeah, no, definitely overdue. Totally a heart pick. No basis in rationale or fundamento para nada. Estoy soñando. I just want to be right so bad, and I'm calling a Galaxy win. I mean, I would love the shutout, but 3-2. I'm calling a Galaxy win. So
yeah, same scoreline as last year, huh? In this fixture.
No Mark.
And we were no Mark Delgado this time. I mean, we were down 2-0 in that game. I thought we were dead and buried. That was one of the turning point moments for me. I was like turning my head. I'm like, oh, how many more soda cans? Oh my god.
But
shout out Edgar Nags, man.
I was scared. I was walking down those stairs and like the soda can popped out of my hand and it started like rolling down, and the Podfather was down there with his flock, right? And I swear to God, I thought it was gonna be like a Final Destination thing where like it was gonna like keep on bouncing and then like explode and pop and like hit somebody, and I was like, oh no, what have I done? Fortunately, it just kind of like popped, and stopped. But shout out to Eli for sacrificing himself and opening that one up. He got greased up. I mean, he can do whatever he wants now. So anyway, those are our predictions for this match. We had that's prediction as well. He's also predicting a high scoring match in this one. So we're gonna be treated to some goals. Joe 13 Cool says 4-3, but G's win. The one and only says Galaxy lose 3-1. Shout out to her. I was over by Large the other day, and I mean she was holding it down over there in the couple box, getting real loud. 2-2 draw, and I'm being very optimistic from Edgar Nags here. yeah, that is optimistic, but like I said, my prediction is not based in any kind of reality or fact or rationale. It's just It's
Yeah.
more of a hopeful thing. Let's go ahead and finish this one off with a couple of announcements, and let's get on out of here, huh?
Yep. Let's do it.
Órale, pues. It is, man. If the Galaxy could get a win, this would be very helpful towards this. Mental Health Awareness Month has started, and not to make light or joke about it at all. When Chicharito was here, he spoke about mental health a couple times. When your mentals are good, you feel good. So go ahead and you know what? If you know that somebody is struggling, if you know that somebody needs some talks, needs some time, go ahead and extend that to them. It is a very serious issue. In celebration of Earth Month, Galaxy players JT Marcinkowski and Tucker Lepley, along with the favorite alien in the world, Cosmo, replanted and expanded the gardens at Annalee Avenue Elementary School in Carson as part of MLS's Works Greener Goals Week of Service. This is a pretty awesome picture. And Ananda, did you know that there's actually a garden at the digs, and they use that for food for the players themselves?
Oh, nice. Yeah, did not know that. Fun
Yeah,
fact.
man. There's a very nice robust garden there on the Diggers grounds. Congratulations to Maya Yoshida on being named to the 2025 Gold House A100 list of most impactful Asian Pacific leaders. Congratulations, Maya, and it was great to see him back out on the field after being out. And keeping with that theme, happy AAPI Heritage Month to all our Asian American and Pacific Islander Gs. There's I'm sure going to be some kind of collaboration like there was last year with Japangelis. Watch out for that. Lars First Fridays on May 2nd at 7:30. That'll be at the Farfield Brew Beer Company in Lawndale. If you have been looking for a supporter group to go ahead and go hang out with, this is open to all Gs. Go ahead and go check that out. Happy birthday to Aseo Senye. The Galaxy center back turned 21 on Tuesday. Hopefully he was surrounded by friends and family, and he had a lovely day. You can catch the IEGs at Pepitos in Riverside. Shout out to Big Heck and the IEGs who always keep it down for the Galaxy fam. They had in their chat earlier that this is the moment where the Galaxy needs you the most. And I've said it about a million times. En las buenas y en las malas, you support your team. There's also other watch parties across the Galaxy sphere. This one is the Galaxy official. It's the Cuatro de Mayo pub crawl. It is the annual. So go ahead and join the Galaxy on 2nd Street in Long Beach. This one kicks off at Supermax and Murphy's Pub, where you get a pub crawl punch card. And then what you want to do here is get that stamped up so you can get a commemorative t-shirt that is a Long Beach Galaxy Crawl t-shirt. You have a couple stops on this one to go ahead and get those punch cards, that punch card filled out. You go ahead and get a Modelo, get a punch, get a Modelo, get a punch, and then you get a t-shirt. Pretty easy. This one finishes at 4 p.m. at Legends Restaurant and Sports Bar, where the Galaxy are having their official watch party at 4 p.m. And El Tráfico is less than a month away. We are now a little over 2 weeks away, Ananda. Incredible. That one kind of snuck up on us. Not really much going into that one. Both teams aren't really doing that great. So we'll go ahead and finish up here with Joseph Paintsill in bobblehead form, looking all Mace Windu-like here. He'll be the giveaway on May 31st versus RSL for Star Wars night at the Digs. And that's pretty much it from us here, Ananda. Do you have anything else to add before we get on out of here?
I was trying to look at stuff in chat. I think we've brought everything up. So, I mean, the only thing is, I know you asked Greg in the last press conference. By the way, is there media availability at all?
Mañana.
Okay, tomorrow. So yeah, hopefully we'll get like the latest team news. So obviously, guys, just follow Rob's coverage there, and of course, La Cuna Galaxiana. We'll post everything on there as well on our X, on our Twitter, whatever you want to call it. But you asked Greg last press conference in terms of, just obviously the rough start. and how he's looking as you asked him about the month of May specifically, but also just the road trip and how important it was for his team to pick up points, right? And I thought it was interesting that he said, obviously him and his team, they're focusing on one game at a time. They're focusing on more on the process of how they can get better, how they can find solutions right pretty quickly. But he also said that, if they get through this stretch on the road and they pick up, points here and there, I think, on the road trips are always good bonding moments, right, for the team. And then you've got a period of home games to look forward to towards the back end of the month. Granted, they're big games or they're clásicos, right? For example, El Tráfico. So I think this is really important, man. And to start off this road trip with either a point or 3 points, I think has to be a requirement, right? Like there's no ways about it. But I just thought Greg's trying to keep that mentality within the group, trying not to obviously lose the locker room and keep them motivated. But I just thought it was interesting, his mindset with his team coming into it. And hopefully, we'll hear more about how he's preparing his team, against Sunday.
Yeah, we'll talk to more. We'll talk to Greg a little bit more about what he sees in this match and who's going to be available, if there's any injuries or anything like that to go ahead and guard against. But yeah, you just mentioned the Galaxy. They start a 3-game road trip, and that is basically all the East Coast stops. There's going to be a rematch against New York Red Bull on May 10th and the Union midweek on May 14th. They're going to be on the road a lot. So May is pivotal for the Galaxy and their playoff aspirations. 7 of the Galaxy's next 10 matches through the end of June will be away from home. But the very next one is the one that the Galaxy have said a bunch of times they are focusing on. We're just focusing on the next game. And the next game is against Sporting Kansas City. We want to thank our friend Thad Bell once again for coming on. On Monday, May 5th, we bring you our Galaxy versus Sporting Kansas City reaction and everything you need to know from that match, who the big performances and big performers were from that match. And then we have a schedule change. Next week, we won't be with you guys on Thursday. We'll be with you on Wednesday, May 7th. We'll be joined by Andrew from the Designated Players podcast, who will be here to help us preview a rematch of the 2024 MLS Cup Final, the Galaxy versus New York Red Bull, next weekend for that match happening on Saturday, May 10th. Galaxylandia, only thing that I'm going to leave you with is another JP tweet. He says, not the best of results lately, G's. Your support means a lot to us, and you deserve better from us. We'll keep fighting to bring the smiles back. That's all you can hope for. We've said it a bunch of times. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't upset. It doesn't disappoint when the team loses. It does all of the above when the fan base feels like they aren't trying. And fortunately, you can see the effort. So hopefully it starts falling into place. So that's about it. Ananda, anything else?
Only one thing left to say.
Ooh, one thing left to say. LA strong, vamos campeones, and G.